Hey mamas, and welcome to the Entering Motherhood podcast. I'm your host, Sarah Marie Bilger, a wife, mom of two, VBAC mama, and doula. Here we integrate holistic mindfulness and evidence-based practices to support you on your unique motherhood journey. Whether you're trying to conceive, pregnant, newly postpartum, or supporting mamas in this stage of life, you'll feel empowered and informed as you embrace what lies ahead. Join us every episode to learn from professionals, special guests, and moms just like you, ensuring that you know what you need to know and discover things that you didn't know before. I believe in you. Let's doula this and let's navigate the transition of entering motherhood together. Hey mama, this is another episode of the Entering Motherhood podcast. This specifically is a Doula Talk episode, which if you don't know, we go live on Instagram every Tuesday around 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And by we, I mean me and Caitlin, who is the co-creator of our signature Own Your Birth childbirth education course. And if you haven't heard or checked it out, please go look at that if you are looking for a childbirth education course. It's our signature Own Your Birth self-led online comprehensive course. And it is just packed with all the information that you will need to be able to feel informed and empowered as you navigate this stage of pregnancy and leading into birth and even the postpartum period. So we are so excited about that course, and we have been chatting and having these doula talks to provide you with more information to really own your birth and have information that maybe you didn't know or refresh your memory on things like that. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you ever have any topics that you feel like you would want to add or hear, if you have any questions, then please reach out to us and let us know so that we can include it in these episodes and in these conversations that we are having for you to really feel informed and empowered. So let's get this episode started. Hello. We are back for another doula talk. We took a couple weeks off for Christmas and New Year's, but we are so excited to be back and ready to share with you guys just, some new things and what's going on. So let me add Caitlin here. She should be coming on any minute. And we're just so excited to be back and be doing these talks and having you here. So if there are ever any questions that come up, hello. I was just saying we had a couple weeks off because the holidays and everything, but we are back and ready to get going.
Yeah.
So how are you?
Doing good. How are you?
Good. So excited to be back. And the topic this week is going to be setting intentions. We are going to be doing kind of like an 8-week series. So this week and then the following 7 weeks, we have a little bit of different topics that we really want to cover and go over to really kick off the new year and get you going. If you are, currently pregnant, if you're trying to conceive, if, 2025 is your year for pregnancy and babies and things like that. So we really just wanted to start off with setting intentions because I think it's great to be intentional and really, align with what you want moving forward. So it's good to have that intention setting done so that you know what you're kind of like moving towards. So you want to talk a little bit about intention setting and what that means to you as far as pregnancy and birth and postpartum?
Yeah, I think intentions are one of those things, like, it's so easy to say, like, oh, that's something I can do later. But it's so, like, I think it's really important to just start that, like, setting your intentions, knowing what you want. And if you don't know what you want, figure it out. Like, do your research, figure out what you want. That way you can set those intentions and set those expectations and set that bar early. Because not only is that going to make it easier for you and for shaping your mindset and for getting your head in a good space, but it's also going to be good for the people around you because then they're going to know what to expect. And it might be one of those things where maybe you're wanting to do things a little bit different than how you were raised or whatever. So that's going to take an adjustment for maybe your parents or your in-laws or whatever. So if you can go ahead and like set that bar and get those expectations set, then you can not only set your intentions, but you can also get everybody else to set theirs.
Right.
And,
Yeah.
I think it's so important and it's such an overlooked step. And yeah.
Yeah. No, and like you said, like if you don't know, like what you want or things like that, like that's why we have our vision planner. And that's why, we really feel like it's such a vital part of planning for your birth. And that's why, it's free to you. If you want it, you can find it in either of our bios, or we can send you the link if you send us a DM, and we can just get you going with that, because we think it's so important when you are setting those intentions, you're figuring out what your vision is, you're laying down and you're asking yourself all these questions and saying, like, what do I want it to look like? Even if it's literally just like, oh, I'm just going to walk in the hospital and whatever happens. If that's what you want your plan to be, then like, you know what? That's what your plan can be. But like, we're all about like getting really deep and like actually setting those intentions and like making sure that like you're aware of all of your options, so that like you know that this step, this process, this way that you want to do things is the true, way of how you want to birth your baby, how you want to go throughout your pregnancy. And you're not just kind of like floating through and flowing through, like, while that's great to like relax and release and let things happen whenever they happen, like that's amazing, but like we also have to have like a very clear intention in mind and say like, if you want it to be like free flow and whatever happens, happens, then like that's fine. But if you very specifically want something, then like be intentional about it. And I think, like you said, it's something that could be very overlooked and not, really like part of what you're thinking. But when we're intentional about it, when we're saying like, this is what I want to do, this is why I want to do it, and we're, setting that off and getting into that, I think New Year's definitely brings it up for like, your life and like what you want to do, like how do I want my workout to be and my diet, and that like it really like sets in motion all of these things. And we're saying like, you need to be setting those intentions and those like goals and mile markers for your motherhood journey.
Yes. And I think that's something else too, like, you like I lost my train of thought. But it's like, you set those milestones and you set those things early and you figure out what you want. That way, when those roadblocks come up, that's what I was going to say. Like, you're talking about going with the flow, and there's nothing wrong with going with the flow if that's what you want, but there's also a way to set your intentions and still be able to be fluid with those. Like, just because you have those intentions set and you know what you want doesn't mean that if something comes up and something happens that we can't pivot a little bit and you can still be in control. You still have the final say in your birth. You still get, to be the one calling the shots, and you still get to have an empowering birth experience, even if it's not 100% what you had planned out and mapped out. Like you can still go with the flow without, just laying down on the table and saying, all right, I'm yours. But, like that's kind of blunt, but
Yeah.
it's the truth.
Yeah. And like you said before too, like, like maybe your family or friends like really don't have the same, idea in mind, or they're like, you're gonna do what? Like you want what kind of birth? Or like, oh, I didn't even know that was possible, or things like that. Like find a group that agrees with what you're trying to do. Find somebody that has done it before. Find a doula that supports you. Find a provider that's going to be there through whatever kind of birth you want. Like get those things in place. You can, do our childbirth education course, and we have a Facebook group that goes along with it. that we are literally like giving you that community right there to ask questions. You get direct access to Caitlin and I. Ask
Yeah.
us anything. Like, we want you to succeed. We want you to own your birth. We want you to, have whatever experience you envision for your birth. And we really want you to get clear on what that looks like. And we can help you. We can, get you there. There's people in your community, I guarantee, like around you, that can make this be a reality. And I just want people to like always know that. Like, if you're like, oh, like it would be nice if this or that, like, no, like it's possible.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that's like so common, especially in the VBAC community, is like, you've had a cesarean and there's so much pushback around VBAC, whether it be from the providers, whether it be from your mom, your grandma, friends, it doesn't matter. Like, somebody is going to say, oh, well, I thought once you had a C-section, you have to always have a C-section. I can't tell you how many times I heard that. And it wasn't necessarily always in a bad way. There was a couple people it was. Like, there was one lady at work who basically chewed me out, and she's like, I would never have a VBAC. And I'm like, well, I'm not you. So
Exactly. Like, you're not.
That's great, because
Yeah.
I am, and I'm going to have a VBAC. But then I had other people who were like, oh, I didn't know you could do that. And I'm like, yes, you can. And it's safe and it's possible.
Right.
But it's like, and I think that's where another like way that this course is so powerful, because not only do you have the community and you have us that are like, we're going to cheer you on. If you're coming from a place of you're intuitively making an informed decision, even if it is a repeat C-section, even if it is, an elective induction or whatever, if you're coming from a place of this is genuinely in my gut what I feel is the best for me and my baby, you go, mama.
Right.
Like, we're support you with that, but also we're going to give you the evidence-based facts
right.
that you need to help you make those decisions.
Right.
And I think that's why I just love our course so much, is because it goes in so much detail with all of these different things to help you make those, not to guide you to make those decisions, but to give you the facts and the evidence to make.
We could have very well, done a VBAC course, done something like that, because that's our journey, that's our story. But like, we just feel so much more like called to do. We set our intentions and we said, like, what do we want this course to be, and like, what do we want to provide and give to mamas, and like, where do we see the lack, and like, where do we see people struggling. And it's all this like miscommunication and information, and it's just kind of spewed at you. You can scroll here on Instagram like over and over and just like continuously find every which way of like choices and decisions and this and that. And like, we want it to make sure like it's all consolidated into like this nice little package where you can like review all of it, look at all of it, and you can sit down and say like, I like that, I want that to be part of my plan. Like, I like this, I want that to be part of my like postpartum. And like, you get to make those decisions, and you get to design how you want to structure it. And like, we just want you to have all of the information possible so that you're making these decisions, so that you can set whatever intention it is that you want to have for your birth. And even like way beyond, like, I feel like our course has so much stuff in it that just like propels you into your motherhood experience. So you're like, yes, like, I'm fully confident in like what I'm doing, how I want to handle this, just, moving forward, because like, you're setting that groundwork, you're setting those intentions, you're really kind of laying down that foundation to then be like, I can utilize this elsewhere. I can take these practices, I can take this information, I can do the same thing that I'm doing, planning out my birth, and use it to plan how I'm breastfeeding, or how I want to eventually feed my baby when I'm starting to feed solids, what the milestones look like, and how that goes. I think it's just like, it's such a good thing. And like, you're in the community for life. Like, you can stay there as long as you want. and then like help other people in their journey. And I think like that's what's really like cool, that like it's all starting right now and we're just going to see it grow and expand. And
Yeah.
that's our intention for these talks, for the course, for our, freebies, for anything that we're putting out there. We want you to just feel fully supported, and it's doula led. Like we're both doulas. We're both, in this work, doing this like as much as possible. So yeah.
It really is. It's a labor of love from both of us. Like there's definitely courses out there that don't have nearly the amount of information that charge so much more, but we're like, no, we want this to be accessible. We want this to be something that mamas can get their hands on and that they have for life. And that, you can just take that information, you can glean from it, and it can be a jumping off point because, we have a ton of information in there, but there's no way that we could possibly put every little thing in there. Like, it's just not feasible. But it's definitely a great place to get going. Like, we give you all the information that you're going to need, but there's also different things that can come up here and there that maybe we didn't cover. Like, there's just no way that we can cover every little intervention or, what have you.
Right.
But it's a great place to really just like propel that research and to propel you into saying, okay, well, this is what I want, or this is how I can ask questions in case one of those like off the wall things happen that, rarely ever happens. Like this is how I can be informed and how I can get myself to a place where I'm comfortable asking the questions, saying no, or feeling comfortable saying yes if it's something that you would not have been, like just where you can be comfortable in making your own decisions.
Yeah. So this week, set your intentions, figure out what that looks like. We're going to be doing, like I said, this for 8 weeks, like different topics, different things going on. Maybe take some time to just journal today or do some like mindset work or whatever it looks like to you. Like go take a walk, go like listen to some calming music and just think about like what you want your intentions to be this year. And, we're starting it off like early in the year, but like you can be anywhere throughout your pregnancy journey, even just like trying to conceive. Like I said, like if you want 2025 to be the year of like pregnancy babies, like I'm raising my hand right there with you because like I want that too. But
we're rooting for you, Sarah. We are rooting for you. For twins.
Twins. Yeah, if you have any twin tips, let me know. But yeah, like I mean, like we want you to just really like take this time, take this week to just set those intentions and get really clear about like what you're thinking, for a lot of aspects of motherhood and just like I said, journal, go on a walk, whatever it might be and whatever that might look like. So like for me, like I always just like to like write down like all the different things that I'm kind of like thinking, what I want to be like being more clear on, what I want to be intentional on. And I think like when you just take the time to write it out and to like lay it out there, then it just makes it easier to really say like, this is what I want my intentions to be. So make a big old list and circle the ones that are your top and really just kind of go from there. So we might have lost Caitlin, but we'll see if she comes back. But yeah, just wrapping things up and just letting you know like this is the week to set your intentions. We're super excited. Follow along if you're not following me or Caitlin. Really just use this space, message us, ask us questions, and let us know what you are thinking about and what your intentions are, because you can leave it here and we'll hold you accountable and we'll reach out to you and start conversations and just get really clear about your intentions. So thanks for joining in for another week. Catch us next week here, and thank you so much for being here. As always, just kind of like let us know what other things you want to talk about and what you want to hear and what questions you want answered. Thank you, mamas, so much for listening. Remember, you are a rock star. I believe in you. Let's doula this. Let's crank it up a notch and let's kick it into high gear together. Hit that subscribe button. Share this episode with a friend. Message me, email me, call me, beat me. You know how to reach me. We're doing this, mamas. I am so excited to catch you here next week. This is your one-stop go-to place for helping you find the resources you need to make the best choices for you and your family during pregnancy, birth, and most importantly, postpartum. See you later, mamas.